Welcome to our video, 5 foods you should never eat again. Today, we will be revealing the top 5 foods that can wreak havoc on your blood sugar levels and your overall health. Sure, some foods are simply unhealthy for everyone, but for those already managing erratic glucose levels, these foods can be especially problematic. They may spike your blood sugar and add to symptoms of diabetes, including fatigue, nerve damage, and even kidney failure. So, why are some seemingly healthy choices potentially dangerous for your glucose management? Which store-sold foods are secretly loaded with pro-inflammatory chemicals? And which of the quick hunger fix fast foods are the absolute worst when it comes to increasing your risk of cardiovascular issues and diabetes? Stay tuned as we uncover the 5 worst food offenders to watch out for. Avoiding these items may make a huge difference for your blood sugar control and your health in general. Now, let's explore the top 5 foods you should never eat again. Number 5. Margarine. Margarine may contain less saturated fat than butter, but this artificial option has been found to increase the risk of multiple health problems. Margarine is typically created using partially hydrogenated cooking oils, and adding hydrogen to vegetable oil is what causes the oil to become solid at room temperature. Unfortunately, this method of food preservation also forms trans fatty acids, also known as trans fats, unsaturated fats which have been found to increase the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and type 2 diabetes. Studies show that consuming trans fats can increase artery-clogging LDL cholesterol, at the same time decreasing heart-helping HDL cholesterol. That's why the American Heart Association recommends limiting your trans fat intake to less than 1% of your daily calories. Meanwhile, margarine is also produced with the aid of other less than beneficial additives, which are used to enhance flavor and texture. These additives can include emulsifiers, which have been linked to gut inflammation and may increase the risk of chronic diseases like obesity and diabetes. Plus, most margarines supply large doses of sodium, which can contribute to elevated blood pressure and a heightened risk of heart disease. What quirky and fun store-sold treat may actually raise your risk of cancer? That's coming up. But first, get a load of, or rather, don't get a load of this classic lunch item. Number 4. Deli meats, especially salami and bologna. They may be quick and easy lunch options, but deli meats are also not an ideal protein choice, especially for diabetics. These meats are typically brined in a bath of water, salt, and sugars, like dextrose and corn syrup solids, along with preservatives like potassium phosphate and sodium nitrate, which have been linked to an increased risk of certain forms of cancer. And because of this brining process, the meat contains added sugar, which may heighten your glucose. Brined meats are also extremely high in sodium content, which raise blood pressure and increase the risk of cardiovascular issues. Plus, the nitrates associated with deli meats have been found to be particularly unhealthy, especially for those managing erratic blood sugar. Research suggests that nitrates may interfere with insulin production and glucose metabolism, and they have been linked to an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Inside the body, nitrates can be converted into nitric oxide, a free radical, which has been implicated in the pathogenesis of chronic diseases, including diabetes. Plus, nitrates can react with amino acids in the stomach to form nitrosamines, compounds which have been linked to an increased risk of colon cancer. But when asked which specific types of deli meat are the most unhealthy, many nutritionists point directly to salami and bologna. Salami has been reported to contain 4 times the amount of calories and fat as roast beef, and bologna can pack in 6 times the fat of deli ham. In the end, studies show that eating pretty much any amount of processed meat on a regular basis can raise the risk of developing multiple unwanted conditions. A Lancet Oncology meta-analysis found that eating just 50 grams of processed meat daily can increase your risk of colon cancer by 18%. Other studies have shown that regularly consuming large quantities of processed meats can significantly increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. And one 2013 study published in the journal BMC Medicine even revealed that consuming high amounts of processed meat was associated with an increased risk of death in general. Which type of food is especially unhealthy if you order it at a restaurant, and why? That's just ahead. But first, why does the process of making this fun and delicious snack food raise your risk of cancer? It's time to check out and pass on number 3, extruded foods. Also known as puffed snacks, these three-dimensional packaged foods have become all the rage in recent years, especially among younger adults and children. Processed store-sold foods which are created through an extrusion process include many light but crunchy treats found in the potato chip aisle, along with many types of breakfast cereals. A Journal of Food Science study found that some extruded snacks are basically 40% fat and 10% salt. Plus, many of these packaged products supply zero fiber, vitamins, or minerals. But the extrusion process itself can add extra layers of unhealthiness. An extruder machine forces grains through a tiny hole at high heat and high pressure, which is what causes them to expand into those fanciful, puffy 3D shapes. But this process can alter the structure of the food to create potentially harmful compounds, including advanced glycation end products. Studies show that being exposed to AGEs can raise the risk of inflammation and oxidative stress. Plus, these foods are typically sprayed with a coating of unhealthy oils, added sugars, and addictive flavoring agents. On top of all that, a Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry study recently concluded that extruded snacks, especially potato and corn-based products, contain high levels of acrylamide, a carcinogenic chemical which forms when certain foods are heated at high temperatures. These unnatural compounds have been linked to a host of diabetes-related issues, including oxidative stress, inflammation, and certain forms of cancer. And studies show that these snacks can directly lead to elevated blood pressure, weight gain, and high blood sugar. So, though these treats look and taste fun, they can be decidedly unfun for your health. What type of food is less than healthy at home, but possibly hazardous to your health if you eat it out on the town? The answer is coming up next. But first, we're giving away 3 free gifts. Just click the link in the description box below and you'll receive the comprehensive guidebook, Superfoods for Diabetics, plus in-depth interviews with leading medical experts in episode 1 of that diabetes documentary, and our diabetes fighting cookbook, snacks, meals, and desserts that lower blood sugar. Simply click the link below to get all 3 for free. Okay, let's get back to the list. What is the absolute worst food you should never eat again? That's just ahead. But the next time you go out to eat, do your body a favor by avoiding. Number 2, deep-fried restaurant foods. It's one thing to enjoy a home-cooked fried meal from time to time, but ordering up a deep-fried chicken, or a fried calamari appetizer, or even purchasing a bag of pork rinds can put your body at risk for multiple diabetes-related conditions. The process of deep frying, even at home, causes your food to lose water while absorbing extra fat. This basically doubles or in some cases triples the calorie count, while also adding a significant portion of saturated fat. And those home-fried dinner sides, including French fries and onion rings, on their own, are also extremely high in carbohydrates and added sugars, thanks to their high-starch breading. All told, deep frying your food, even at home with less processed oil options, can still increase your cholesterol and your risk of cardiovascular issues. But if you order these same foods out on the town, chances are you will unknowingly be consuming extra unhealthiness. And unfortunately, many people are eating deep-fried restaurant foods at record rates. In fact, studies have found that 1 out of every 3 Americans eats a fast food meal at least once per day. So, why is this type of deep frying so hazardous to our collective health? First, restaurants and store-sold fried food products are often deep fried in cheap industrial vegetable and seed oils, like corn oil, cottonseed oil, soy oil, and canola, which are stripped of their nutrients while also supplying huge amounts of saturated fats. And certain partially hydrogenated vegetable oils can supply trans fats, which, as we've previously discussed, can increase your LDL cholesterol while decreasing your heart-helping HDL cholesterol. Plus, in many cases, businesses save money by reheating their oils to produce multiple batches of their products. Studies have found that reheating these cooking oils at high temperatures can increase the trans fat content of the fried foods. And just like some extruded snack foods, many fried foods also form advanced glycation end products through the high temperature cooking process. Again, overconsuming AGEs can lead to inflammation and cancer-causing oxidative stress. So it's no surprise to find that consuming deep-fried foods, especially commercially produced fried options, can increase your risk of several health problems, including obesity, heart disease, certain forms of cancer, and type 2 diabetes. In fact, an American Journal of Clinical Nutrition study found that people who consumed fried foods more than 4 times per week had a significantly higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes than those who consumed fried foods less than once per week. And a recent meta-analysis involving over 560,000 participants found that those who consumed the highest amount of fried foods had a 28% increased risk of stroke and heart attack. Plus, if all this weren't enough to make you say goodbye to everyday fried foods, get this. Studies show that the trans fat within these products may decrease your sex drive. So, maintain your energy and proper blood sugar balance by avoiding commercially fried foods as much as possible. Alright, we've reached today's top choice for the food you most want to avoid. Stay away from number 1. Liquid sugar, energy drinks, sodas, and coffee creamers. The worst type of food on the planet is actually a drink. Sugary drinks, sugar-filled flavor additions, and even certain sugar-free drinks are often far more harmful to your body and your blood sugar balance than many sugar-packed foods. In general, liquid carbohydrates are metabolized far more quickly than sugar you consume via food. That's a main reason why these drinks have been found to be especially harmful for diabetics, as they are absorbed into the bloodstream incredibly rapidly, which greatly increases the risk of a blood sugar spike. Plus, these drinks typically contain fructose, a simple sugar which can get metabolized and stored as fat in your liver. So it's plain to see why multiple studies show that soft drinks are a leading cause of the current diabetes and obesity epidemics. But did you know that the diet versions of your favorite sodas are also extremely harmful to your body? While diet colas may not contain sugar, they are packed with artificial sweeteners to make up for the loss of addictive flavoring. In fact, artificial sweeteners have been found to be anywhere from 180 to 13,000 times sweeter in taste than real sugar. And research shows that regularly consuming fake sugar can alter your taste bud preferences, potentially leading you to unintentionally seek out more sugar-rich foods. Scientific studies have also found that artificial sweeteners can interfere with the body's ability to regulate blood sugar levels. The human brain actually perceives artificial sweeteners as the real deal, so consuming fake sugar can still trigger an insulin response, even though there is no actual sugar for the insulin to manage. Increased insulin levels can then lead to increased insulin resistance. Additionally, some artificial sweeteners have been linked to a multitude of diabetes-related conditions, including a heightened risk of cancer, neurological issues, gastrointestinal problems, metabolic syndrome, and even increased appetite and weight gain. Coffee creamers are also loaded with added sugars and other chemical preservatives. Certain brands may be marketed as low sugar, but will still supply a large dose of artificial sweeteners. Energy drinks, on the other hand, simply supply huge amounts of sugar, so consuming even a small portion of one energy drink may lead to a significant blood sugar spike. Plus, energy drinks may also contain other questionable ingredients, including taurine, an amino acid which has been linked to heightened insulin resistance and an increased risk of developing diabetes. And of course, both energy drinks and diet sodas supply a large quantity of caffeine, which may lead to negative health consequences for diabetics. While studies show that consuming black coffee and other sugar-free caffeinated drinks can lower the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, research also suggests that for those already suffering from diabetes, excessive caffeine consumption may affect insulin action, and possibly lead to a blood sugar spike or even a dangerous drop in glucose. In the end, liquid sugar and artificial sugar drinks can raise your risk of developing a variety of diabetes-related conditions, including high blood pressure, dehydration, poor sleep and restlessness, anxiety, liver damage, kidney damage, and an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Well, that about wraps up today's vid. But what did you think of this important topic? Which foods do you think should be avoided at all costs, and why? Comment below to let us know. Before you head out, don't forget to grab your 3 free gifts. Just click the link in the description box below. And please do us a favor by hitting the like button. And why not subscribe to Diabetes Smarts, your home for the latest tips and tricks for beating diabetes. To really show your appreciation for our channel, you can feel free to click the thanks button. We want to thank you for watching. We hope you're having a happy and healthy day.